A local mother says her family's in crisis. She adopted a child in need, hoping to change his life. But years later, after multiple suicide attempts, hospital stays, and dangerous behavior, they feel like they're out of options. Action Jack's Yona Gavino's live in studio. And Yona, the family's trapped in a law that could put their entire family at risk if she tries to get more help.
Ben, she says it's not about giving up on him. It's about getting help before someone gets seriously hurt. But Florida law does not make that easy, and this Jacksonville mom fears the clock is ticking. This is a story about love, mental illness, and a system with few solutions.
This is his psych evaluation from last year where the doctor said that he showed early signs of sociopathy.
The boy is 13. His mom, Rachel, said he's been Baker acted 7 times since April. He's attempted suicide 6 times this year. We're not showing the boy's face, and we're not using last names to protect the family's privacy. She shared this letter from a psychiatrist. It paints a troubling picture of her adopted son's sexual abuse against his younger biological sister and sexually aggressive behaviors with male and female peers. Rachel and her husband adopted the boy and his little sister, who's now 11, back in December 2018.
Being in our home, he has made it very clear that he will continue to try to harm himself, to continue to try to harm other people, and we need outside of the home help.
But legally, if she doesn't bring him back home from psychiatric care, she says DCF could charge her with child abandonment. And worse, remove her 2 biological sons who are 15 and 11, and her adopted daughter too. Adoption attorney Jeannie Trudeau Tate explains how DCF could do this.
If you're abandoning one child, it can lead the state to pursue other abandonment charges or neglect charges as it relates to other children in the home. DCF would be the entity that would levy those charges against this family.
Rachel told me it is her adopted son who is saying he won't stop his destructive behavior until he's removed from their home. According to Trudeau Tate, the adoption attorney, this type of case isn't completely unheard of.
From time to time, things like this do happen, and we've had to help adopted parents navigate those situations before.
Rachel said the adoption of her son and his sister happened in less than 4 months, and she believes Jacksonville-based Daniel Kids, where they were adopted, rushed the process.
There's a ton of information, but you're given about an hour to look through a stack of documents this big.
Family Support Services, which offered post-adoption support to Rachel and her husband, emailed me in part. Pre-adoptive families receive more than 20 hours of training on trauma and parenting children from hard places and undergo a rigorous home study evaluation process to assess their readiness to adopt. Rachel said the child's behavior endangers the entire household. I asked Daniel Kids for a response. They emailed back saying in part, "This is the first we've heard that the family is having trouble with the child in the 7 years since the adoption was finalized. Our general policy is to share all information we have about a child's history before and throughout the adoption process."
Well, you can't love trauma out of someone.
And while some may call it giving up, she sees it differently.
We're not trying to abandon him. We want him to get help.
You could go back and do it again and know this is what you're facing, nothing has changed. Would you still do it?
Absolutely not.
I found out that legally there are other options like a readoption.
A readoption is a much, I think, more emotionally and socially acceptable approach for the child's best interest. It allows the child to integrate or reintegrate into another family over a transition period. Of course, if you have safety issues, that's another consideration that has to be addressed.
After 7 years of pleading for help, she says she and her husband still believe they were destined to adopt.
We thought that's what God was calling us to do.
The boy and his adoptive father are living apart from the rest of the family in a camper in Glen St. Mary just to keep everyone safe. I reached out to DCF several times by phone and email, asking repeatedly for comment for this story. The spokesperson replied, "My team is working on your request," but I never heard back.
So, Yona, has anyone either from the state or these adoption agencies stepped in to actively help this family?
Ben, nothing yet. Rachel told me no new resources have been offered, and no one from Daniel Kids or DCF has reached out since I began my investigation, and she is still trying to navigate this while obviously juggling the legal risks.
So what kind of impact is this having on the other children?
Really, it's an emotional toll, a very heavy one, Ben. It's been traumatic. The mother shared that her adopted daughter has her own therapy needs and that her safety is obviously a major concern. And you can imagine the entire household is just dealing with emotional stress and really thinking about the welfare for all three of the other children now in the home still.
Yona, thank you.
Thanks, Ben.